Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party, the national anthem, and the invocation given by Chaplain Carr.
Will you pray with me? Almighty God, we thank you for giving us life and breath and for the opportunity to serve our country and to ensure its freedom. On this day, we ask for your presence with us as we celebrate the faithful service of Colonel Nance, First Lieutenant Miller, General Bilo, Chaplain Payne, Colonel Davis, and all the other humble OCS alumni who we recognize today. We thank you for their selfless service and the ways they have led by example and made an impact in the Army, their communities, and this nation. As these patriots are inducted into the OCS Alumni Hall of Fame, I thank you for giving us all opportunities each day to make a difference in the lives of others. Lord, help us to act with moral courage and to persevere in the face of adversity. And as these inductees have demonstrated, help us also to serve selflessly and to strive for excellence in order to leave a positive and lasting legacy, in order to create a stronger nation for tomorrow. Let this ceremony be a benchmark of excellence for us all to follow as we seek to be all that you've called us to be and all that our nation needs us to be. Not to us, O Lord, but to your name be the glory. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Welcome to the United States Army Officer Candidate School Hall of Fame induction ceremony for the class of 2021 on this day, May 17th. Please join me in welcoming Colonel Retired Harmon, the President and CEO of the United States Army Officer Candidate School Alumni Association, and the member of the 2004 OCS Hall of Fame.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the U.S. Army OCS Alumni Association, members of the 11th Infantry Regiment, and all the members of the OCS Hall of Fame, I congratulate you for being inducted into the OCS Hall of Fame. The OCS Hall of Fame was established in 1958 to honor graduates who had distinguished themselves during World War II through valorous combat leadership and subsequent superior meritorious service. The first honoree was Medal of Honor recipient Lieutenant Thomas Weigel. The Hall of Fame building is named in his honor. Members of the OCS Hall of Fame are honored for the following reasons. First, Superior Valorous Combat Leadership, which includes recipients of the Medal of Honor and the Distinguished Service Cross. Second, Superior Meritorious Service, which includes successful battalion and brigade commanders, staff directors, program managers, and defense attachés, each being recognized for superior meritorious service in the rank of full colonel or above. Next, Distinguished Public Service, which includes members of Congress, governors of a state, cabinet secretaries, U.S. ambassadors, mayors of large cities, and federal judges. And also Superior Public Service, which includes high-ranking career civil servants, GS-15s and SESs, high-ranking state officials, members of state legislatures, mayors, sheriffs, police chiefs, city managers, and CEOs of philanthropies. And finally, lifelong service, which includes individuals who have had a life of service to the nation and to their community, which starts with valorous combat leadership and/or meritorious service, and then continued with outstanding public service through volunteerism, especially in support of military service members and their families, as well as military veterans. Most graduates of the Officer Candidate School view OCS and their subsequent military assignment as the foundation of their personal success and the experience from which they drew the confidence and courage to succeed despite adversity. Our 2020 and 2021 honorees have more than succeeded. They have excelled, and they have significant accomplishments in service to the nation. Once again, congratulations on your induction into the OCS Hall of Fame. We look forward to today and everything, all the festivities that we're going to go through, and I think you'll enjoy that. At least the last two groups did. And right now, I'd just like to introduce our OCS Commandant and the Commander of 3rd Battalion, 11th Infantry, Lieutenant Colonel David Holstead.
Good afternoon. Distinguished guests, on behalf of Major General Patrick Donahoe, the Commanding General of the U.S. Army Maneuver Center of Excellence, and Colonel James McGahee, the Commander of the 199th Infantry Brigade, welcome back to Fort Benning and to OCS, albeit in a different location than when you went through it, and we are truly honored to have you here. In March of 2020, when COVID-19 was sweeping across our nation and our Army struggled with how best to respond, I was forced to make a tough decision. Even before formal restrictions precluded us from hosting, I knew that canceling last year's Hall of Fame was the right call. But it was a very painful decision for me, because there's only one truly appropriate way to honor the heroes and distinguished servants who have been selected, and that is in person, with families and loved ones, right here at Fort Benning, on the grounds of the Officer Candidate School. When I made that decision, I truly believed that we would be able to host this year. But as time went on, that assumption became less and less likely to become reality. However, this time, instead of acting early, we held on to hope that we could recognize our inductees in person. So, when less than a month ago, the Commanding General opened the door to ceremonies here on Fort Benning, we jumped into action. We knew that with such short notice, the majority of the OCS Hall of Fame class of 20 and 21 would likely not be able to come. But we wanted to at least offer to host a formal induction for such an incredible honor, even if only one person could make the trip. So again, thank you for being here, as well as your families. Welcome back. Among us today are some individuals who truly embody not only what is great about the OCS and the Army, but what it means to be a leader, a teacher, a mentor, a member of a family, a colleague, and a friend. We will read an abridged bio for each of you as you step forward to receive your official induction. But some things strike out at me about why you represent the very best in our proud and distinguished OCS legacy. For example, Brigadier General Bill Bilo spent 33 years in uniform, rising to the Deputy Director of the Army National Guard. However, following his time in uniform, General Bilo continued to give back by serving on several advisory panels on veterans benefits, as well as serving for a short stint as the Vice President of the Field Artillery Association. Colonel Ken Nance's accomplishments in the Army, equally noteworthy. He served in 5 combat deployments over his career, including Afghanistan, Kosovo, and Bosnia. His nominator, Brigadier General Michelle Link, noted that everywhere Colonel Nance served, he made a tremendous impact on the Corps of Engineers community, including setting superior standards that resulted in Army-level awards for his organization. Lieutenant Colonel Chaplain Dan Payne's legacy of service is truly remarkable. Serving as an enlisted 11 Bravo in Vietnam and then later attending OCS, then getting out of the Army to become an ordained minister, only to answer the call of duty once again, almost a decade later, to serve as a chaplain, where his impact has been felt for generations. After his second stint in the Army, Chaplain Payne served in the National Park Service, drives across the country to assist poverty-stricken areas and ministering to the less fortunate families, traveling overseas for mission works for months at a time, administering to advising military veterans while cultivating his passion for the outdoors on the Appalachian Trail. And sir, I'm going to take you up on that one day. We also have First Lieutenant Doug Miller with us, who after serving in the Special Forces during 2 tours in Vietnam, became a successful banker and venture capital business developer. However, his greatest accomplishments were not in the business world, in my opinion, for his success there only fueled numerous philanthropic endeavors across the globe, while personally funding minority scholarships and a myriad of veterans programs, to include Outward Bound, which assists veterans struggling with substance abuse. My personal favorite of these efforts is when he returned to Vietnam in 2005 to rebuild a school that he had originally built in 1969 in a desolate South Vietnamese area that was destroyed by the NBA the very night that it was finished. Finally, for Lieutenant Colonel Chester Davis's induction in the Hall of Fame is long, long overdue. Serving in the Special Operations community during World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, Chester Davis's bravery is second to none. On September 1st, 1944, then Lieutenant Davis led an 11-man OSS team, parachuting at night behind enemy lines in German-occupied France, to link up with the French resistance and conduct counter-scorching operations. He later earned a Silver Star for gallantry in Korea, leading his company to attack a strongly fortified position on Hill 472. His son, Major General Miles Davis, is here today to accept his induction, and again, which is long overdue. Sir, thank you for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, we will read the bios and recognize just a few of the accomplishments here today. But these intangible qualities, astonishing bravery, true and deep-seated selflessness, and tireless dedication to make the world better, what makes this induction so special. It's the stories like these that will inspire our current officer candidates and members of our OCS family to be, as the old Army slogan says, all you can be. Because you have truly lived a life of service and that is deserving of this recognition and so much more. Again, I would argue not just for Lieutenant Colonel Davis, but for all of you, this recognition is long overdue. Congratulations to you ahead of time, and please know how honored we are to have you here. Thank you. Standards, no compromise.
The Officer Candidate School Hall of Fame was established in 1958 to recognize distinguished graduates of OCS. The Hall of Fame building, Weigel Hall, was named after Second Lieutenant Thomas W. Weigel, the first OCS graduate to receive the Medal of Honor. Currently, there are over 2,000 members of the OCS Hall of Fame. Today, we will induct 5 new members into the Hall of Fame. Each inductee will receive an OCS Hall of Fame induction certificate, an OCS coin for excellence, an OCS Alumni Association coin, and an OCS Alumni Association 11th Infantry pin. Hall of Fame inductees, please move to the award table when your name is called. The first inductee recognized here today for the OCS Hall of Fame class of 2021 is Brigadier General William Charles Bilo, inducted for superior meritorious service. General Bilo was commissioned as an artillery officer upon graduation from Officer Candidate School Class 166 at Fort Sill, Oklahoma on 17 December 1965. His first duty assignment was as a Pershing instructor in the Artillery and Missile School, where he was later assigned as a TAC officer. General Bilo was a platoon leader and battery commander in Germany before his 2 combat commands in Vietnam, serving first as a commander of Battery B, 77th Artillery, and then as commander of the Service Battery, 30th Artillery, 1st Cavalry Division. In 1972, he was voluntarily released from active duty but continued his service in many command and staff positions in Oklahoma, Virginia, and Maryland Army National Guard. General Bilo served as the Brigade Executive Officer for the 58th Infantry Brigade and later as the Director of Personnel for the Maryland Army National Guard. He was selected to assist in the reactivation of the 29th Infantry Division, serving as the division's Chief of Staff from 1984 to 1987. After his assignment as Chief of Staff for the Maryland Army National Guard, General Bilo served as the Commander, Division Support Command of the 29th Infantry Division and culminated his Army career of 33 years as the Deputy Director of the Army National Guard. His highest honors received include the Distinguished Service Medal, the Legion of Merit with 1 Oak Leaf Cluster, and the Bronze Star Medal with 3 Oak Leaf Cluster and V device.
This is an 11th Infantry and OCS Association point. Okay. 80 years of OCS. Good. Bell pin, since you mentioned that first cab. Yeah. And then here's a replica of your brick.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Like your web
I ain't going to look at this is 60% road.
I've been in contact with Lieutenant Hong, and he said you're not required to speak, but we'd like you to speak. And I think he said in between the lines, keep it brief. And Colonel Holstein, Colonel Harmon, thank you very much for this honor today. Other distinguished guests, it is truly a pleasure to be standing here before you today. Yesterday afternoon, we got here early. Me and the wife strolled down Memorial Walk, and I've crossed paths with many of the folks that's names are there. Most notably, there's a bench over here with Hiram Smith. He and I fired. He was in a platoon I took to fire a Pershing missile at White Sands when we were in Germany in the 60s. And there's Pinky Durham, Medal of Honor winner. I was his honored to be his TAC officer when he was a lower classman and a middle classman, and brought back a lot of memories. I really need to recognize many soldiers I served with during my career, and I also need to recognize my wife will be 55 years soon, a couple of months. Diane, for I'm going to just say persevering with me. But we have the best NCO Corps in any Army in the world today. And it was the best in any Army in the world when I served on active duty. And when I retired, I mentioned a few names. I'm going to mention a few today. And I had the privilege of commanding 5 different commands, company battery commands, and an 06 command, serving in all 3 components in the Army. And it took a lot of great NCOs to make me be here today. And first I want to start out with my drill sergeant, Fort Jackson, South Carolina, Sergeant Crawford. I'll never forget him. My first assignment in the Combat Engineer Regiment of Fort Leonard Wood. 2 NCOs there, the Operations Sergeant Smith, who was a prisoner of war in Korea for 1 year, and First Sergeant Knowles. I won't say they talked me into coming to OCS, but every time I had to go an officer tried to talk me into coming, they encouraged me to sign up. So I owe a lot to them. The Cold War in Germany, First Sergeant Gentry, First Sergeant Rao, First Sergeant Ship, Master Sergeant Gaines, Sergeant Major Gillis, Sergeant Major Van Winkle. The hot war in Vietnam, commands I had there, Master Sergeant Bacon, First Sergeant Patton, First Sergeant Theory, and later in reserve components, First Sergeant Gettle and Command Sergeant Major Stanley. They're all great examples, I think, of the NCO Corps of the United States Army. And in closing, I would like to tell the officer candidates that are standing in the back, as far as I'm concerned, I've been to a lot of Army schools, and the OCS enabled me at every step of the way along my career. I could always refer back to that being the best school I ever attended, and the one that always enabled me to perform the missions that were assigned to me. And I will task you, be all you can be while you're here, because you're going to do this one time and it's got to last your entire career. Again, thank you for the honor today. I appreciate it very much. And God bless the United States Army. God bless America. Thank you very much.
The second inductee recognized here today for the OCS Hall of Fame Class of 2021 is Colonel Ken Randall Nance, inducted for superior meritorious service. Colonel Nance was commissioned as an engineer officer upon graduation from Officer Candidate School Class 590 at Fort Benning, Georgia on 24 August 1990. His first duty assignment was as a battalion construction engineer, 223rd Engineer Battalion. Colonel Nance's military service began as an enlisted soldier with the 1st of the 108th Armored Cavalry Regiment, serving for 5 years as a tank crewman. Following his commissioning, Colonel Nance transitioned to the National Guard and Army Reserves, where his diverse assignments in the company to division levels included deployments to Kosovo and Bosnia, as well as participation in Secretary of Defense-led Special Access Program at the Pentagon. Colonel Nance also held multiple command positions at the detachment, company, and battalion levels while serving in 5 combat deployments, including Iraqi Freedom and Freedom Sentinel in Afghanistan. During his final deployment as a Transatlantic Division Deputy Commander Forward, Colonel Nance's prestigious career was shortened by an injury sustained in Afghanistan, resulting in an early retirement. As a Department of the Army civilian, Colonel Nance served with the U.S. Army Engineering and Support Center, where he represented the Mandatory Center of Expertise for Military Construction. His highest honors received include the Legion of Merit, the Bronze Star Medal, and the Defense Meritorious Service Medal.
For your civilian uniform, 11th Infantry, OCS Alumni Association. Whoops. And 80 years of OCS. Your wife and coming home, your kids too? Whole crew? Whole crew. Whole crew. Here, I'll hold that for you. Ready? Got it.
Sit. 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 Stay. Colonel Holstead, Colonel Harmon, distinguished guests, Major General Davis, it's in my family. Such a great honor for me to be here and to be a part of this. This is Sully. Reason I have him here is not any way a spectacle or anything, but he is such an important part of my journey now. And he's a military trained service dog from Warrior K9 Connection, that is an affiliate of Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. One of my injuries sustains a traumatic brain injury, and he trained for 1.5 years at Marcus Brain Institute in Aurora, Colorado, with response. And where I used to always have a good command sergeant major to keep me squared away, now I've got Sully as my battle buddy, and he does a phenomenal yeoman's job, and I'm so grateful for him. I want to first thank the Lord. He gives each of us, we're all on different paths. He gives each of us abilities, innate abilities, and then he gives us opportunities, and gives us education, and gives us opportunities to develop. And he's given me a lot of opportunities, and I'm so thankful for that. Probably the greatest thing he gave me was my family. My loving wife, Michonne, 25 years. We have 3 children. One was still in school, so was unable to attend, but Skylar, Cal, who's also a member of the military and infantry, enlisted infantry and engineers, was able to be here. And then Molly Harper, our youngest, is still in school. But what a blessing they have been, and such a support of my career. I'm so thankful to be joining the ranks of such a distinguished group of former graduates. And, as I mentioned, each one of us individually have a unique life journey, and I believe as OCS graduates that we have a great perspective that serves as a great enabler for our success, because we've been privates. We've served in the ranks. Many of us became NCOs prior to deciding to go to OCS. So we've already begun developing resiliency. And resiliency in military, most importantly in life, is one of the most important things that we have. And as we all know, resiliency is not just the ability to withstand difficulty, but it's the ability to think rationally and make good decisions in spite of difficulty. As was mentioned in my bio, my mettle was really tested when getting banged up in Afghanistan in 2017. It seemed like in a blink of an eye, my whole world changed from, looking forward to going into brigade command to having to come to the reality that life is different now. But you know what? That same resiliency that was developed in me first as an enlisted soldier, most specifically here at OCS, I can't believe you can pack so much challenge into this period of time. but there's method to the madness. Prioritizing task, learning order of importance, and those things served me well in the military. And now, as I begin this new chapter with Sully, they serve me well now. And I'm so thankful again, to the Lord for giving me the opportunity to come through the officer candidate school program. And I poured my heart first to my family, but then beyond that into the military. But the military has given me so much more than I have ever given it. I'm so grateful again to be joining this distinguished group. So grateful to Brigadier General Link for wholesomely recommending me. I also had to thank Major General Shanley, who mentored me through challenges and going on to this new phase in life. Thank you to my family, and thank you to each of you. God bless you all, and may God continue to bless our wonderful nation.
The third inductee recognized here today for the OCS Hall of Fame class of 2021 is Lieutenant Colonel Chester Phillips Davis, posthumously inducted for superior meritorious service. At this time, we'd like to invite his son, Major General Miles Davis, to receive Lieutenant Colonel Davis's certificate on his behalf. Lieutenant Colonel Davis was commissioned as an infantry officer upon graduation from Officer Candidate School on 19 June 1943 at Fort Benning, Georgia. His first duty assignment was as a platoon leader with the 1st Training Regiment Infantry Replacement Training Center, Fort McClellan, Alabama. Lieutenant Colonel Davis served with distinction in 3 wars: World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. During World War II, he voluntarily joined the Office of Strategic Services and was assigned to Company B, 267th Special Reconnaissance Battalion, which dropped in behind enemy lines in support of the invasion of South France. He participated in 3 additional major campaigns with the 82nd Airborne Division and the 504th Parachute Infantry Regiment before meeting the Russians in Germany at the close of World War II. Placed in active reserve in 1946, he was recalled to service during the Korean War, earning a Silver Star for gallantry in action while acting as a rifle company commander and battalion staff officer with the 38th Infantry Regiment, 2nd Infantry Division from 1951 to 1952. He served in his 3rd war, Vietnam, acting as an advisor to the staff of the Training Center and National Commissioned Officer Academy as part of the Military Assistance Advisory Group to Vietnam. Lieutenant Colonel Davis culminated a 24-year Army career as an Inspector General with the Headquarters, 7th Army, before his retirement on 1 November 1966. His highest honors received include the Silver Star Medal and the Bronze Star Medal.
Association form, 80th year of OCS, and yourself. Okay. So if you want to
On behalf of my dad, who I know could say it much more eloquently than I. Thank you. Thank you to his wife, who's passed away, my mom, Lucia. Thank you to the United States Army and the Officers Candidate School for giving him the opportunity to do what he loved most, serve his country and lead soldiers. I know if he was here today, he would want to thank all those officers that he served under, all those leaders that he served with, and most importantly, all those soldiers that he led. For he is and will always be a soldier's soldier, and so very proud of his being a graduate officer candidate school. Thank you very much.
The fourth inductee recognized here today for the OCS Hall of Fame Class of 2021 inductees is Chaplain Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Larry Payne, inducted for lifelong service. Chaplain Payne commissioned as an infantry officer upon graduation of Officer Candidate School Class 0570 at Fort Benning, Georgia. His first duty assignment was at Fort Benning, Georgia as a TAC officer and assistant operations officer in the Officer Candidate School Battalion. After nearly 3 years of service, he returned home to attend seminary and rejoined the Army in 1986 as a chaplain. His background in the infantry uniquely prepared him for his duties, whether stateside, in or outside of the battlefield during the Gulf War, or throughout multiple tours in Korea. His compassionate and proactive approach to ministry ensured that he was always there for his soldiers when and where they needed him most. Following 25 years in the Army, Chaplain Payne has continued a lifetime of service, not only as a pastor, but also as an active volunteer. His love for the outdoors led him to volunteer and work for the National Park Service for more than 10 years throughout the Great Smoky Mountains, the Appalachians, and the Alaskan Kenney Fords. Chaplain Payne's extensive volunteering also includes providing support for former military members and their families, as well as overseas mission work in the Dominican Republic, Ecuador, and Thailand. His highest honors received include the Legion of Merit, the Bronze Star, and the Meritorious Service Medal.
Uh-oh. Well, there'll be any more chances to take some pictures. Yeah. Couple works. I didn't give you the stuff.
We'll get it later.
No, we'll get it. I gotta give it to you.
Okay.
Do that. Here's your commander's coin. 80 years of OCS. 11th Infantry and the Association pin. Association pin. And a replica of your book. Okey dokey.
Whoa. I am here on behalf of millions of soldiers whose lives I hope I touched at some point. Starting here as a TAC officer in 50th Company, 5th Student Battalion. I was telling some of the senior candidates earlier, when you do your leader rotation, at one point I was put in the company commander's position, and it was on a Friday and the commander has all of the company out front of the big high platform at 50th Company. That's now part of the airborne things. And so I'm on the platform with all these TAC officers, and the company commander walks out, and I just look at him and smile. I do not call the company to attention. TAC officer says, drop and give me 100. I made it, barely. But when I got up, I'll never forget what he said. You'll never graduate. Well, I don't know what he's doing today, but I know what I'm doing today. So I am truly thankful for, well, first of all, I need to look around. My hair's a little long, and I hope it's not a TAC officer here to give me a demerit, because I'm one away from having to clean the grease trap in the mess hall. And I do not want to do that again. But it's been a marvelous walk of life. One that when I was a hard-headed, tough-nosed second lieutenant trying to teach young people how to become what I was, somewhere within that person there was a chaplain in the making. Nobody would have ever guessed it in those days, but I was birthed, and I'm thankful for that, because as a chaplain I've had the opportunity to hopefully change a lot of lives. You never know. I still on occasion get an email or a phone call from somebody that says, you don't remember me, but you saved my life, you saved my marriage, you saved my whatever. And so that I think is hopefully the story that I leave upon this earth when I do leave it. And I want to thank the battalion for doing such a wonderful thing here for this group of inductees. And on behalf of my family, which it has served back to the Revolutionary War, my 5-time great-grandfather Nehemiah Payne served with the North Carolina militia. My father, who served in World War II, my son, who is here today, served in Somalia. My brother, who is not here today, served with the Marines in Vietnam. And I have a grandson currently serving at Fort Hood. He's a tanker. So clank, clank, clank goes the tank. So on behalf of my family, and just one little humorous story about the son that's here today that was in Somalia. When I was attacked down at 5th Student Battalion, he was about 1.5 years old, and I would sometimes on a Saturday bring him in, and we would just walk around the battalion area. And he had learned over time about saluting, and these privates would come by, these officer candidates would come by, and he'd say, "Morning, sir, morning, sir, morning, sir." So he got a good start in life by being around military people. Thank you. God bless you.
The fifth inductee recognized here today for the OCS Hall of Fame class of 2021 is First Lieutenant Douglas Leon Miller for superior public service. Lieutenant Miller was commissioned as an infantry officer upon graduation from Infantry Officer Candidate School, Class 2767 at Fort Benning, Georgia. His first duty assignment was as a platoon leader in Fox Company, 51st Infantry, Long Range Patrol, Vietnam. Following his return from Vietnam in 1969, Lieutenant Miller received an honorable discharge from the Army and entered graduate school at the University of Kansas. After earning his MBA, he joined the Continental Illinois Bank, the largest bank in Chicago at the time, beginning a long and successful career in international banking and venture capital. His experience overseas included assignments in Jamaica and the United Kingdom, which set the foundation for his philanthropic calling. In war-torn Vietnam, 24-year-old Lieutenant Miller led in the building of a school in a destitute village of K Tat, which was finished only to be demolished by local communists the same night it was dedicated. Inspired by this memory, Lieutenant Miller founded and chaired numerous venture philanthropic organizations and charities around the globe, partnered with the likes of Gates, Hewlett, Packard, Ford, and Rockefeller Foundations. His philanthropic legacy includes support for the United States veterans, landmine clearing operations in Vietnam, Sri Lanka, and Iraq, infrastructure projects in Peru, Sri Lanka, and Nepal, the support of minority first-generation college students in the United States and the United Kingdoms, and market development in Eastern Europe. It also includes the rebuilding of that school in the village of K Tat, which is now attended by the grandchildren of the villagers Lieutenant Miller had originally built the school for. His highest honors received include the Bronze Star for Valor, the Bronze Star for Meritorious Service, 2 Purple Hearts, and an honorary doctorate from the University of Warwick.
Okay. Well, you don't need to press it till I start speaking. Okay. I've got a couple other things for you here. Okay, this is your 11th Infantry coin, also the Association coin. 80 years of OCS. And a pin for your both side of your jacket.
Well, before I start, I want to say it's pretty hard to follow as a first lieutenant with all these colonels and higher people, but I will do my best. I would also say that they seem to have averaged about 30 years in the service, and as you heard, I was 3 years. I first of all, before going into my little presentation, want to thank the members of my OCS class, which was in May '67, because they were the people who nominated me for this award. I was motivated by JFK in 1962. I was 18 years old, so a very impressionable 18-year-old, and he said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." So at that point, I decided that when I graduated from university, I would go to the Peace Corps. So in May '66, I was on my way to the Peace Corps in French West Africa to help people, as JFK had indicated. 10 days before leaving, I got a draft notice that says, "We're revoking your deferment, and you need to report to Fort Jackson by a date in early June." So I went from the concept of helping people to the concept of hurting people, but all in a good cause for the United States. At the time, I wasn't so sure about that, but it didn't take me very long to think that it was actually transformational, because my time in basic training in AIT, and in OCS was absolutely crucial for everything else I've ever done in my life. It was not only the people that I associated with, but it was the instilling of all of the rigor, the determination, the leadership of people, and the like. I was fortunate enough to graduate in the top 10% of my class, which meant that I could choose my assignment. So I chose the Special Forces. Now, obviously, I don't look like a Rambo type of person, but I chose that because I wanted to continue my learning journey, and I wanted to be associated with the people who were the most experienced, the most committed. And you might have a more difficult and challenging operations that you have to do, but you're with people who know what they were doing. So I was learning while I was commanding. After the time in the Special Forces and my leaving the Army, I went back to business school at Kansas, and I found it very easy once I got into the commercial world to progress much faster than any of the people who had even graduated from Harvard and Stanford and otherwise. And that was all because of what I learned not only in OCS, but in my time in Vietnam. In my time in Vietnam, we did a lot of quite dangerous missions, and I had to give orders where it was likely that somebody was going to get seriously hurt, and you had to live with that knowledge that you were doing your best and making the best decisions. In business, nobody dies, so it's an easier decision to do. So I was in business for 40 years. I was very lucky because private equity is a highly rewarding part of the business community to be in. So I started giving away money about 30 some years ago, and it was mostly kind of a spray and pray type of thing. Somebody came along, I liked it because it was education or children or dealing with gender issues or dealing with racial issues. So I started giving away money, particularly around racial issues, back in the 1970s. So we are where we are today. There's been some progress made, but obviously more is needed. About 20 some years ago, 18 years I guess, I took a group of 27 people back to Vietnam to raise money for mine clearing operations. They were all from the private equity industry, 9 different countries. We raised a lot of money, but we weren't satisfied with the Nobel Prize winning charity that it was transparent enough about the results that we're going to achieve. So we discovered a thing called venture philanthropy, thinking big. This was only done in the U.S. So thinking big, we decided we would make this a global movement. And today we're on 4 continents, so Europe, Asia, Africa, Latin America. We're in 60 countries. I have about 100 team members. And the thing that the Army taught me was that it was all about the team. So we only get committed individuals, people who are really committed to the cause. So I am here essentially on the basis of philanthropic efforts. My military efforts were good, but not on the caliber to be here. To the candidates who I understand are graduating in next week or the week after, I hope your time in the military goes very well for you. If it doesn't, the training and determination and history that you have will stand you in good course for the rest of your life, whatever you do. Lastly, and I told my wife I would say this, we've been married 48 years, and she's still teaching me. Thank you.
At this time, we'd like to recognize the following inductees who were unable to attend the ceremony for 2021 OCS Hall of Fame. We are proud to recognize the following distinguished alumni as members of the OCS Hall of Fame. For superior valorous combat leadership, Major George Wesley Hughes, Captain John DeHaas Curran, First Lieutenant Bernard Lawrence Pierce. For superior meritorious service, General Frank Joseph Grass, General Jack Neil Merritt, Lieutenant General Arthur James Gregg, Brigadier General Susie S. Coolin, Brigadier General John Stephen Martin, Colonel George Alfred Bannon, Colonel David Waldron Clark, Colonel Stephen Allen Epkins, Colonel Christopher Roderick Forsyth, Colonel Michael David Gilpin, Colonel Carl Ginter, Colonel Philip Henry Gleiss, Colonel David Charles Osborne, Colonel Richard Raphael Perez, and Colonel Charles Richard Rhine. For superior public service, Major Larry Bruce Rogers. For lifelong service, Lieutenant Colonel Mark D. Mariska, Major William Michael Perkins, Major David William Rice, First Lieutenant John Henry Motley, and First Lieutenant Donald Bruce Prell. We invite all inductees, nominators, and next of kin absent today to return to OCS for an in-person commemoration. We look forward to the resumption of the Hall of Fame and reunion celebrations next year. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join us for the OCS alma mater, the departure of the official party, and the Army song.
Sound off, candidates.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the 2021 OCS Hall of Fame induction ceremony on this day, May 17th. Please feel free to look around the Memorial Walk, which commemorates all OCS graduates regardless of school location. It stands as a cohesive place for the graduates and current candidates to remember the history of OCS and pay tribute to those who have sacrificed for their nation. At 1400, we invite all inductees, family members, and guests to join us at Net Hall across the street for briefings by the OCS Commandant and by the OCS Alumni Association President. Thank you and have a nice day.